So we got some good news and some bad news. I'll give you the good news first and then give you the bad news. Uh, so remember back in 2024 when Visa and Mastercard were basically trying to get a DL site, the Japanese digital content platform that housed things like manga, doujin, ASMR, and 18 plus content. Do you remember when Visa and Mastercard were trying to get them to censor themselves? Basically saying you either censor yourselves or we're not going to let you let people buy stuff from you. And well, that happened about a year ago. Chibi Reviews did a video on it. But apparently I've got some interesting news about that. It's that Japanese content platform DL Site gets its own official credit card amidst Visa and Mastercard suspension. I am very happy about this because we finally get to see some pushback against Visa and Mastercard. Vivian, the company running major Japanese digital content platform DL Site, announced on December 19th that it will launch its own official credit card, meant to ensure consumers can use DL Site and related services with peace of mind. Offered through the domestic credit card company JCB, the Vivian JCB card appears to be yet another effort by the company to offer self-reliant methods of payment. DL Site is home to a range of content, both adult and SFW, including comics, games, doujin, and ASMR, published by indies and big companies alike. In April 2024, the platform ran into trouble with international payment processors after refusing to do away with its 18-plus content based, leading to payments via Mastercard, Visa, Mastercard, and American Express being suspended on the platform. To this day, the domestic JCB is the only credit card brand supported on the site. Likely to counter this, the Vivian has decided to issue its own credit cards. Specifically, the Vivian JCB card is a so-called virtual credit card users can create through a dedicated mobile app free of charge. Opting for a physical card comes with a $20 fee. To encourage adaptation, the company will be offering a 4% return rate for purchases made on DL Site and other Vivian services from January 26th to July 31st, 2026. Interestingly, this comes after Vivian On launched a semi-in-house direct payment method called Mina no Ginku in October this year. It seems the company is trying to secure as many alternatives as possible after losing the widely adopted Visa and Mastercard. It's nice to see overall that we get blowback against Visa and MasterCard for their censorship. I mean, Visa and MasterCard in particular are not special in the situation because of the fact that we also have I think it was like 11 days ago, Chibi Reviews put out a video. His video was talking about how the EU wanted to ban certain Japanese anime and games, and he had a thumbnail saying Bikini Armor banned. Bikini Armor is now banned. Like, oh gosh. I don't know why the EU is so concerned about Bikini Armor and video games from Japan when they're literally not taking care of their own people and letting them get attacked by criminals. Criminals are running rampant throughout all of Europe. I don't know why they're so concerned with Japanese video games. Going back to the Visa and American Express and MasterCard, well, Visa and MasterCard anyway. I know that there's some advocacy groups and anti-corn groups that have been putting pressure on Visa and MasterCard for a while now. I don't necessarily know if they're still doing it. They were doing that a year ago or several years ago, like 2022, around that time period, and 2023, to censor, adult things, like even adult games, like the games on itch.io and what was it? Oh yeah, games on Steam. They had censored because when they were censoring DL Site, it wasn't too long after they started trying to censor DL Site that they started censoring games on Steam. Chibi Reviews made a whole video about that. It was like 3 days after the DL Site incident. But it's obviously not a special thing. Like, it's not isolated. This is happening becoming more and more common, and we should not allow this kind of censorship to become the norm. We really shouldn't. It's nice to see that there's pushback, and I think eventually, much like woke, censorship will eventually die, but we have to keep pushing back against it and keep I don't know what to say, else to say except pushing back against it. That's what we really can do. At least all I can think about it, and battling against it anyway. But anyway, that's the good news anyway. Well, yeah, it's nice to see that there's some circumvention of Visa and Mastercard, because they've been a pain and they really deserve to be circumvented with the censorship rule. So the bad news is, this is from Pirate Nation. Sony is developing AI that censors games in real time. Sony is developing a patent-pending AI system capable of real-time censorship of video game content. It automatically detects and modifies mature and sensitive material such as violence, gore, sexual content, and profanity. The technology uses AI to enhance on-screen visuals and audio in real time, dynamically intervening by muting dialogue, blurring or masking elements, or replacing assets like blood effects or character models to reduce intensity. I think that's probably one of the dumbest things that they could really do. It really is. I think it's just so dumb. Because Chibi talked about this, and he made a good point. He made a really great point that completely blew Sony's argument. Sony says that they're doing this to make their games more child-friendly. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Why would you worry about that? The parents can decide if their games are right for their children or not. You don't need to intervene. There are games that, the parents can decide that their kids are too young to be playing or shouldn't be playing, just like GameStop. Chibi made that example. He remembered talking about when he was a young kid going to GameStop and his dad had to okay, certain games because they were rated M for mature or something. I remember doing the same thing too. I went to GameStop and I got Assassin's Creed 3. And my dad had to okay it because it was rated M for mature. I mean, that alone, your parents, or not your parents, but these parents should be raising their children, not Sony. I think Sony's wasting their time. More than anything, it seems like they just waste no opportunity in trying to find some reason or some excuse to do more censorship. And why? For what reason? Is it the same thing? Pressure from outside groups? Is it kind of like woke people inside the company? I don't know. I swear Chibi is like gone over every point that I was basically gonna make. I meant to get a video out before he did, but he put it out before I could. I was busy doing absolutely nothing. But I was just so lazy. But anyway, the point, being the point that Sony does censor a lot of things. It censors things in Crunchyroll. It messes things up. It doesn't necessarily care for anime. It mostly uses it simply for profit. And I think likewise, they probably look at games the same way. They're not necessarily going to care about the games. They're just going to use it, say, oh, we got our profit. We don't really care what happens to it. We're trying to appeal to a wider audience, and therefore we're going to censor things that were good or controversial. Going to make everything safe and normal. It's so goofy. And Chibi makes a good point that saying that censorship will never end with just this suggestion. It will always extend and it will always become something else. And there's no reason to censor adult content for adults. If you're giving adult content to adults, don't censor it. What's the point? If nobody really wants censorship, especially not people who are not playing the game. For some reason, want censorship for the people who are playing the game. Make any sense of that? But yeah, if I keep going here, it's just gonna go on to a long tangent. It's gonna turn into like a 30-hour video of me just absolutely complaining all the time, because I'm very good at that. I'm very good at complaining. I can't seem to get out a sentence without slurring my words for some reason. But that's whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to yap a little bit about that. See ya.